Hello, welcome to your in-depth horoscope forecast for week commencing the 29th of June for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, please join me directly on Twitter where we can chat. My handle is @HoroscopeAce. Also, please join Elisa and I for the daily astrology and tarot video show, which is proving great fun, really popular, and you can grab your free daily horoscope every single day. Please see the link for this beneath this video. So we begin this week with last week's quarter moon in the sign of Libra, providing a backdrop of energy throughout this one. With the Sun in the sign of Cancer and Mercury continuing to retrograde, what this is informing us is that we need to just be mindful around emotional considerations or our relationships, just to step back a little bit, keep a sense of logic and detachment, especially if someone disappoints us by not responding quite in the way we would like. Now, this is the week when Mars is going to start its long journey through the sign of Aries, which of course it governs. Now, this can be hugely positive, but it is going to be going through a near to 10-week retrograde, which begins in September, and it will be squaring up with the big three that from this week, with Saturn returning back to Capricorn, are located in that sign. However, initially, I think what Mars is going to do is fire us up, especially around our individual needs. It's also started to forge a very positive link with Venus, which pretty well goes on for most of this month. That's great if we want to connect with people in a way that's not been possible if you've been in a location where the lockdown has been particularly stringently applied. Now, this is also a week from Monday through to Wednesday when the Sun is sparkling beautifully with Uranus. If we can find some fresh ways to evolve, particularly around our home existence, and to flex and to be a bit more imaginative about how we live in our abodes or make the most of our outdoor spaces, this would be a fine thing to do. Some people may be quite entrepreneurial from the comfort of their home, and anything which is quite innovative can actually do very well. Now, on Wednesday at 3:52 a.m. UCT, Universal Central Time, the Sun and Mercury come together in an exact conjunction, combust. Now, this confers on somebody who's born with this in their natal horoscope, as long as they don't have any difficult aspects from Saturn and Pluto, a real opportunity to shine when it comes to using their mind. But of course, Mercury is not at its best in the sign of Cancer and is in retrograde. So the Sun's inching forwards, Mercury's taken a step backwards. But I still think it's a great time to have a powwow with the people that you see as being in your extended family or group, or to express with real meaning how something seems to us at a more emotional level. But it is true, as this week draws to a close, that Saturn does go back into that retrograde. Now, of course, Saturn is dignified in the sign of Capricorn. Its transit through that sign in the previous 2.25 years until the 21st of March is not necessarily in itself a bad thing. It's the fact that Jupiter and Pluto are really side by side in this sign. Jupiter's not at its best here, and this week they are inching closer. It's going to be by the 10th of July that they are absolutely exact. So we've got a polarization between the Sun and Mercury in the sector of emotion and feeling and family and home, and Saturn returning to the part of our scope that's to do with big demands, big responsibilities, more governmental interference or guidance, and with Jupiter conjoining with Pluto that can see some action in terms of the stock market. So how do these two polarities work out? That's going to be the big story of July. But what we can do is fall back on that glorious link between Venus and Mars, which is encouraging us to really try to create a spark between ourselves and the people that really matter. Your specific forecast, Virgo, suggests that somebody that you've been involved with in the past, perhaps a friendship, some kind of group situation, it may be that you start to see that there's a kind of chasm developing between your values and theirs. Perhaps both of you are changing at the same time. Perhaps it's more subtle than that. You could be very generous in such a situation this week, but whether you would actually feel very enhanced or rewarded by it is another matter. It is possible to be too generous, I feel, but it's always better to be generous than mean to a fault, that's for sure. However, this is a week when Mars, the planet of passion, does move into, well, the most hot part of your situation, where he's going to be for an extended period of time, right through till early January next year. If you do, in a practical sense, want to do better around your longer term fortune and assets, this could give you the drive to perhaps head out on your own in an entrepreneurial context. If you're wanting greater intimacy in your life, the spark that this creates can be really exciting. However, Mars also forges a very positive angle to Saturn at the start of this week. And Saturn's in a part of your scope which is very much about emphasizing your credentials for precision. So that's a good thing. So if you have a discussion at the start of this week and you're setting the tone for some kind of deal or arrangement, or you're writing a business plan, you can probably do so very effectively. Now also, Uranus, the planet of surprises, which has been pushing you since the middle of May 2018 until the middle of November 2018, and then from March 2019, to be much more open-minded about your approach to all sorts of situations. That's not saying you weren't before, but even if we see ourselves as being very open-minded, we can still have certain residual ways of being that are much more rooted in the past. So Uranus is basically asking you to be more experimental. And ironically, if one friend or situation starts to lose their sparkle, another one can soon come in to replace it. So be utterly optimistic about your prospects. Also, your ruler comes into an exact conjunction with the Sun on Wednesday at 3:52 a.m. Universal Central Time. This combust can really spark an imaginative idea for your long-term future. Even though Mercury's in retrograde, you're thinking things through, and as long as you can be flexible, which you have a gift for usually as well, you could summon up some new creativity in terms of that longer term plan. Now, as the week draws to a close, Saturn does move back into your sector of expression, romance, playfulness. Saturn's not something that makes us particularly playful in those areas, of course, but it is about discipline. So if you've got talents that need to be shaped in a very thorough, precise, regulated way, from now through till the 16th of December is a fine time to go for it. To be honest, because Saturn's been in this part of your scope for the last 2.25 years, and Pluto's been there since 2008, and Jupiter for about half a year now. I think you're getting into it, so it may be that something that you'd started just needs a bit more of a push to really get it to where you want it to be, and by the end of this year, I think you will be able to see the evidence of your progress. Thank you so much for having joined me. If you'd like to explore more serious astrology and ascend above your zodiac sign, please check out my range of affordable reports beneath this video. You can get 30% off if you buy a 12-month forecast and a character analysis, or if you'd like to see the testimonials, you may choose to have a one-to-one with me, which would be a great honour. But for now, take care, stay safe, and good luck.